Let's go ahead and do this last problem on the bottom of page 3, and then we'll move over to the number lines on the last 2 pages. So using the same color rods, so same colors, they all have to be white or they all have to be red, draw a representation of 7, 6. So this is what my head tells me. 7, 6 means 7 copies of 1/6. So when they ask me to draw this, I think, oh, I need to find out what 1/6 is, and I need to make 7 copies. So we can look up on our paper here, and we can see the light green piece is 1/6. So we're going to have 7 of these. So we just need to draw that box 7 times and just label it light green. So we'll just get a guesstimate here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excuse me. So this will be 1/6, and this is the light green, as you can tell from above. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's 7 copies of 1/6. And what do we notice about the original representation? Well, let's go up here and look. So here's our unit equal to that. So when I add a 7th one in, let's go a little bit over this way so you can see. So here's my whole. 6 light greens were equal to the whole, but when I add a 7th in, now it's longer than the whole by 1/6. And that makes sense because 7, 6 also equals 1 and 1/6, right? Because 6, 6 is 1, and then we have a 6th left over. So 1 equals 6, 6, and then we have 1/6 left over. So 1 and 1/6. So what do you notice about the length? It is going to be longer than the original unit. So the length is longer than the original unit. And we can say equals 1 and 1/6. So we're kind of running out of room there, but that explains it somewhat. So 7, 6 means 7 copies of 1/6. 6, 6 is 1. So 7, 6, as you can see from the picture, is longer than 1 by a 6th. So it's 1 whole unit plus a 6th. So it's 1 and 1/6. So the length is longer than the original. It equals 1 and 1/6. That's not a very good sentence, but we didn't have much room there. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to page 4. These again are a review of what we've already done, so I think I'll use the last 10 minutes on this video to go over some of them, and whatever we don't go over, we'll just be done because we've already seen quite a few of these. So now they're telling us this is a whole, which we already knew from the last chapter. So the whole goes from 0 to 1. So to plot 1/2, we learned that that means 2 intervals. And you could put them all along or just a couple. So 2 intervals, at least between 0 and 1. And then we label 1/2. And it says plot So we draw a circle there. So 1/2 should be exactly in the middle of 0 and 1. When they get to be improper fractions like this next one, it's easier to do 5 copies of 1/4. So we know that we need 4 intervals. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. But since this number is larger than 1, remember 1 is 4/4, 5/4 is larger, we need to divide this one into 4 intervals as well. So since we have 2 intervals going, we do need to label all of those. So 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4, which is 2. So we can see we're on the right track. And this says 5/4 or 5 copies of 1/4, which would be right there. And it is greater than 1, as you can see, because 4/4 is 1, so it is larger than 1. Okay, so next we have 2/3. The denominator tells us how many intervals. We can see the number is less than 1 because 3/3 is 1. So make 3 intervals between 0 and 1. So this would be 1/3, 2/3. Of course, this is 3/3. And we place a dot at 2/3. So make sure it's labeled and there's a dot. That's what we give points for, labeling, plotting. 3/2. Is that over 1? Yes, it is. 2/2 is 1. So that means I'm going to have to fill in 2 intervals. It says make sure and make 2 intervals. So there and here. So 2 intervals, 2 intervals. So 1/2, 2/2, 3/2, 4/2. So 3/2 it is. And I think that should be a review. Most of you did very well on that on the test. Okay, let's go over to number 5. 5/5. Tell me about 5/5. What's it equal to? 1. You're right. So it wants it as a fraction, so we have to make 5 intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5. Sorry, my numbers are a little bit messy. 5/5. And there it is. Should be at 1. And last but not least, we have 9/5. Is that larger than 1? 9/5? Yes, it is. 5/5 is 1. So that means we're going to have to make 2 intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I think I'm going to alternate. So 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, 9/5, and 10/5. And on the test, it does ask you to label all the intervals. So make sure, I know this is boring and time consuming, but make sure you label each of the intervals with its number and plot your point. So 9 copies of 1/5. And you can see that is, there's 1/5, there's 1/5, there's 3 copies of 1/5, 4 copies of 1/5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 copies of 1/5. So each interval is 1/5. Okay, we have some prompts for lesson 3 that I put up in Canvas, so you can either write them on your own notebook paper or print them out right now, but let's go ahead and do one or both of those. So the first one is a savings plan. It shows the amount of money in Adam's account and the amount of money in Kim's account. Of course, I'm poorer than Adam. Okay, so the amount in Adam's savings account is blank times as much of the amount in Kim's savings account. Do you remember when we did this with the broomsticks? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it says Adam, and then it says Kim. This tells me to divide. So that would be 5 divided by 3. So this would be 5 over 3. But we learned that you really should probably change that into a mixed number. So Adam to Kim, because it says times, that means it's multiplicative inverse. So we're dividing. So 5 divided by 3. If we go ahead and divide that, we get 3 goes into 5 once. Subtract 2 left over. So it would be 1 2/3. So Adam makes 1 2/3 times as much money as Kim. Or Adam's account has 1 2/3 times as much as Kim. Now they're switching the order. Remember how I told you it's so important in your order? So now it says Kim to Adam. So Kim is listed first, which if you look up here is 3. Adam is listed second. It's still using the word times, and we learned in multiplicative reasoning that means you divide. But it's Kim divided by Adam this time because they listed Kim first. So Kim is 3, Adam is 5. So Kim has 3/5 as much as Adam, which makes sense if you put these little blank ones in. Here's Adam. So this would be Adam, and Kim makes 3/5 as much as Adam. So all the answer's totally different, and it's all based on who's listed first. Adam divided by Kim. So Adam over Kim. Kim divided by Adam. So 1 2/3 times, that means he makes more over a whole more than Kim. She makes under a whole, so just a part of what Adam makes. So that's just a little reminder about our multiplicative reasoning. So times told us to divide, because we learned that in multiplicative reasoning. And order told us how to get the fractions. So let's go ahead. Maybe we can do one of these, and whatever we don't get done, we'll do in the next video. If the whole circles the unit, here we are back at circles, what value is blue? So here's the whole circle, and they want to know what value is blue. So since it's a small one, I think it will be easier. Put it on here, and then double the number. So I'm thinking maybe 4. So if 4 blues make a half, how many blues are going to make a whole? 8, right? So 1 blue would be 1/8, because 8 blues make a whole.